Good morning and welcome to Wednesday. It's good to see that the swim team from the Lazy River has made it back from our morning workout. Well done, you. Yes, if you got out there late enough, you could have seen some really senior officers trying to figure out if they can stay under the water because it was too cold, but hold on to the energy tube, so welcome. And welcome to all of you, and thank you. We are at, I think, day 3, if you were lucky enough to be here on Sunday for the full program, but for many of you, day 2.5. And it is just great to see the true marathoners of this group. I mentioned to Vice Admiral Sharp this morning that when you come to GEOINT, you leave with a little bit of a headache because there is so much substance for the days. Rhonda doesn't believe in any white space on the training schedule, and this has been just an extraordinary few days where our community has come back together to compare notes, to hear from our stakeholders about what they need from us, to give us a little bit of credit as a community of how much has been accomplished, but actually to move on and set the bar and tell us what to get to work on. So if you have been like me, just soaking it in since you arrived, filling up notebooks or iPads or whatever it is that you do to take notes, I know that you've gotten the mission that this is a phenomenal community of national security professionals that brings the best because of the partnerships that exist in this room, but we have work to do to maintain that position and to continue to contribute in the way that we uniquely can. So thanks for being here today. All right, yesterday we had the amazing National Treasure Sue Gordon as your Sherpa through 4 hours of just substance after substance after substance, and she said, I'm gonna take you to the mountaintop. Today, I've got 2 hours, so I'm gonna be your cruise director on a pontoon boat, and I'm gonna have no mercy for any of you. The doors are gonna close and we're gonna lock because we're going straight through. And what we have today is a really exciting opportunity to really dive deep into space. You know, as all of you know that read the paper, and I'm just gonna make that assumption, that we read the paper, you know, our Space Force was created 2.5 years ago, or a little bit more than that, and creating a new opportunity for Department of Defense to organize around that focus in that domain. And so today, we're gonna focus on the final frontier. We did try to bring William Shatner back. He was a little too expensive. But final frontier, and we're gonna have 2 major panels. We're gonna have a guest speaker, our keynote, Lieutenant General Saltzman, and I'll talk a little bit more about him, who is one of the pioneers of this new organization. And you're gonna get an opportunity to understand why the Air Force selected him early to lead this effort. And he'll share his message to us in terms of what his organization contribute, but actually he's one of your most important customers, so we're probably gonna walk out with some more tasks. So I noticed that behind Admiral Sharp, the staff is getting ready to take notes. And then right after that, we're gonna have a little bit of a break because we have a guest from Washington who really wanted to be here, so we'll do a little bit of an interlude and let him introduce himself. But then we're gonna transition to a panel of the business of space, and the business of space and what our commercial providers and the industry can provide to this command, but to this community. So that's the plan, a lot to learn. There is a quiz afterwards. If you pass, you get to go home, or actually, no, you don't. You get to go to the floor again, where we're gonna see a couple more hours, the last of the innovation hubs, the last of, I think there were 39 or 40 or 50 lightning talks today. I actually have the number because I'm a little anal and I counted them last night. And we'll have the government hub. So we'll break from here at 11:30. You're gonna be fed for the 47th time. So walk quickly so you can blow off the calories, but you will be fed again, fed well. Then we're gonna ask you to get to the lightning talks, and then at 12:40, which will start at 12, at 12:45, the hubs will open back up again, and there are 2 really important briefings at both the YPG and the government hub. So if you're still here, keep your mind open and keep learning. Before I get too much into this, I want to say thank you on behalf of all of us who have been here to the leader of the organization, a small army of the USGIF. Rhonda, congratulations to you on behalf of all of us who have come together as a community to renew friendships, to create relationships, to have professional discussions, for putting together once again with your staff, with Christy and this great group of women and men that you call your team. Just an incredible GEOINT symposium. So I'd like to ask all of you to offer Rhonda and Avatar Rhonda a round of applause. I also want to thank our esteemed chairman, who basically came in and said, be bright, be funny, and get off stage. So, you know, that's the kind of encouragement I get. To former director and our chairman, Robert Cardillo, who really did so much, brings so much passion to this organization, cares so deeply about this community. Thank you and the other members of the board for always being there for Rhonda and for always making sure that we remain engaged. And finally, none of this matters and none of this happens without the director of NGA. And in the history of NGA, we have never had a bad director, but we have never had a director who has not understood the importance of this organization as much as Admiral Sharp. Admiral Sharp, the tradition is NGA brings its professionals here so that the community can come and engage with your leaders and hear firsthand what is needed, where the ideas are, how we team. And once again, on behalf of all of industry that came from around the world, thank you for bringing yourself, your leaders, and remaining engaged. It's why we leave with a long list of things for you and come back next time, having solved those and saying, what's next? So please give a round of applause to our NGA team and our leader. Thank you so much. Okay, right now we're getting in the water, so let's get nervous. Okay, there's a couple administrative things that I am bound to talk about. The Olympic geocache or geo team, you have just a few more hours for that competition to get those geo codes. Last night I met somebody that I don't think has gone to any lectures because he's been looking for those codes. So there is a very strong competition here. I have checked, it is not in the 2024 Olympics, but the competition is tough. You've got about 2 more hours. We would ask you not to push each other over. We've already had to disqualify a few people for just aggressiveness. So a couple more hours, get back down to the floor, finish it. Remember, there are fabulous prizes involved. Number one, you get to come back to this and feed that obsession. So if you're obsessed now, you get to come back and defend your title in St. Louis. So you get a free membership. Secondly, you get a car. Well, no, you get a picture of a car and an idea that we would have given you a car if we didn't have a supply chain problem with chips. We just didn't get the car here on time. So I felt kind of bad about that because I know how hard you're working. And so on behalf of all the vendors, they right now, while we're speaking, are accumulating some duffel bags of their leftover swag. That leftover swag will be leaving with you if you win. For those of you who have not done a Mother's Day gift yet, are looking ahead for what you're going to give that significant other when you propose to her for marriage, when your kids ask, what did you bring me? Remember, on the floor, after you leave here, you need to empty out nothing says love more than Nerf balls. Nothing. I give my husband's pens all come from here. So I would ask you to help us reuse and recycle those beloved items. If you win geocache, you're going to get duffel bags, and you think I'm kidding, but I'm not. The duffel bags are ready. The rest of you, when you go back down to the floor, you know, compliment Lockheed Martin on the bag that we've been carrying around. As I said, I don't want to sound sexist, but that was designed by a woman with fashion in mind. I like it. There's pads, Post-its. There's all kinds of stuff that you won't have to buy a gift. So please help us out with that. Second, you know, go back down to the floor because, again, we worry about your high altitude affects your appetite and your calorie intake. There's free food, and we want you to eat that. Well, you've paid for it, so I'll just tell you it's free. But in any event, please go down and do that. And spend a little time, one more time, to take another lap around the exhibition hall. I did actually do the numbers because I couldn't sleep last night. Rhonda, what's the number of people that registered this year? 4,200. people traveled from around the world to come here. There were 25 training sessions, 27 amazing keynotes from leaders from Department of Defense, from the IC, and this community. Then there were 10 panelists with multiple people, so you do the math. It's not a strength of mine. I think you know poli-sci. 59 lightning rounds. 59 opportunities for you to lift your mind someplace that you've never been before. For those of you who missed yesterday's innovation finalist, if you want to understand the strength of this community and why all of us can sleep well at night, the 4 finalists, who I don't know if they're still here today, our winner, the 4 finalists were just amazing. The Sergeant Major and I, our Senior Advisor for NGIA, Sue Gordon and I just kept looking at each other, shaking our heads, thinking, we can retire now. I actually said, I can die happy now. Because what I saw in those presentations, so thank you to those companies, to your government sponsors, to the creativity that is out there. What I actually saw over the course of 4 7-minute presentations were things that 5 years ago, 7 years ago, I had listed as I need this solved as the G2 of the Army. And I saw it's not only solved, it's operational. So congratulations to them. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, if you didn't get a chance to go to What is a Map, because trust me, if you think you know, you don't. So go watch that. It's like Game of Thrones. You're just not expecting the ending. And if you didn't have a chance to listen to the keynotes yesterday, don't miss those. Because what the leaders did was compliment this community, NGA, on just another brilliant, breathtaking year of contributing to the national security posture of this country. You know, Admiral Sharp started by talking about this is, you know, great organizations come into their own when it matters most. And I thought you might have been talking about COVID because you did that so well. But let's think about this day and how lucky we are to be in a country that is safe and secure. And think about what's happening in Ukraine. And the fact is, this community was the one that carried the message to the world to say, this will not go unnoticed. This country's fighting for its survival, and we are going to get the information to you, thanks to the government, but thanks to our great commercial partners, so that the world can make a choice. And it's not like we'll sleepwalk through this. So thank you for that. And thank you for also the shift in this conversation with the leaders is, here's the list of what we want you to keep working on. Complete confidence that next year we're going to have a different list and a different story. Okay, without further ado, that was my administrative things. I'm looking at Rhonda. She's a little nervous. She never knows if she gives me control of this, if it's going to go the right way. But now we're going to shift to a kind of a surprise. As you guys know from the agenda, we were expecting the 3 amigos, General Nakasone, General Sharp, or Admiral Sharp, and General Barrier, to be able to be out here together, partly because those 2 other leaders love this organization, love NGA, and appreciate NGA so much, they would travel to the ends of the earth. And I know as I stand here today, General Barrier's feeling a lot of FOMO, but also is personally aggrieved that he can't be here today because of the love that he has for the director of NGA and the respect and love that he has for Robert, for Rhonda, and all that you do. So he can't be here today. We didn't bring him into the metaverse. Scott is not that cool yet. He's coming in the digital in the internet 2.0, but we're going to start with just a little bit of message from him to all of us. So if we could roll that, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I wish I could be there in person. I want to thank the U.S. Geospatial Intelligence Foundation for organizing this important event once again. DIA is an agency of over 16,500 people around the world. We provide intelligence on foreign militaries that enables decision advantage to prevent and decisively win wars. We are analysts, collectors, STEM professionals, warfighters, and more. We are an all-source agency. We fuse multiple disciplines together and translate it into a coherent picture for DoD and national leadership. We provide intelligence to give our decision makers on the ground and in the White House a first mover advantage. The demands on DI and the rest of the IC are only increasing while the stakes continue to grow and timelines continue to shrink. DI depends on GEOINT. Let me say that again. DIA depends on GEOINT, and we have throughout our history. I could talk at length about the importance of GEOINT, how, as an all-source agency, DI depends on GEOINT, but all of you are here because you understand its value. However, I will recognize the key role GEOINT played in developing the all-source picture that provided truly unprecedented warning and detail of Russia's planning and ultimate invasion of Ukraine. As a result, we were able to accurately predict Russia's plans and warn our decision makers and U.S. partners and allies. The IC's collection and analysis and ability to share with our allies literally rallied most of the planet and imposed tremendous costs on Russia. The IC and DoD cannot afford to continue business as usual. We must nurture innovation and transform the way we collect, analyze, and disseminate intelligence, or we will lose our advantage. Today's national security challenges are growing. A lingering pandemic, terrorism, regional instability, economic crises, cyber attacks, and natural disasters. We're also in a state of constant competition with China, while Russia remains an existential threat. Iran and North Korea also pose significant threats. Before I get too far, I want to reflect on this year's theme, GEOINT, the foundation of intelligence. Geospatial intelligence is a critical component of national security and our efforts to advance the capabilities of the intelligence community and Department of Defense. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, GEOINT is priceless. GEOINT products are a part of almost every briefing and finished intelligence product. GEOINT tips, cues, and validates other collection disciplines in an ecosystem where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Beyond intelligence on adversaries, GEOINT is being used in new and novel ways against broader problem sets. For instance, it is playing a vital role in helping us understand the planet itself. GEOINT is enabling us to predict and strategize responses to climate change, natural disasters, food scarcity, pollution, and other man-made environmental disasters. As I mentioned earlier, the demands on the IC are increasing at breakneck speed. The volume of data available to analysts and by extension decision makers is overwhelming. We need to improve the way our analysts spend their time. Analysts must spend more time interpreting the data, drawing insights, and weighing implications instead of managing and querying data. To do that, we need to more tightly integrate HUMINT, MASINT, SIGINT, OSINT, and GEOINT. We must also find ways to automate GEOINT to quickly recognize objects and events and establish patterns. Beyond using artificial intelligence and machine learning to reduce the manual burden, we must also look at collection management to prioritize and dynamically adjust collection to keep pace with changing priorities and environmental factors. Finally, we need better ways to categorize and disseminate GEOINT products across the IC, DoD, and with our allies and partners. Innovation and technology are changing the world and everyone in it. The pervasive threats of China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea demand that we continuously evolve and innovate. We need to think of innovative solutions now and in every aspect of GEOINT. What other technology can we leverage, create, or advance? How do we build efficiencies while still affording redundancy and flexibility? How do we counter denial and deception efforts? How do we ensure the security of our GEOINT data and platforms? This requires ingenuity, new partnerships across the IC, and with industry and academic partners. All of you will shape tomorrow's roadmap, and I challenge you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Embrace the nature of innovation. Only together can we deliver the intelligence our decision makers need today and beyond. Thank you and good luck. The nation is counting on you. I'll see you in 2023.